Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were some of the worst kept secrets in gaming. It seems like everyone knew that these games were coming and we expected to get more information about them. And just the other day we did get this information. We got all of the information that we could have potentially wanted from this game. What it's about, how it plays, how it looks, and when it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. But there's been a bit of backlash when this game was announced and when the gameplay mechanics were shown, and I'm not quite sure why. There's a lot of hate going on around this game, and I don't think it's really justified. And I say that as someone who's not really a hardcore Pokemon player. I haven't played a Pokemon game since Pokemon Black. I dabbled in Pokemon Go, of course, but I've just sort of fallen out of love with the series for whatever reason. It got a bit stagnant. But I think Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee actually looks a bit fresh. So in this video, we're going to talk about what these games are, what they look like, how they play, and why potentially people might be against these games, because I do see both sides of the coin. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and why there's so much hate for it.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards!
So at its core, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is basically a new version of Pokemon Yellow for the modern generation. And of course, Pokemon Yellow was a spin-off of the Pokemon Red and Blue games. Those were back when I was playing Pokemon pretty frequently. I used to go to my buddy's house and watch the Pokemon cartoon every day before 7th grade because that's what we did, and Pokemon was awesome. So I'm familiar with these games and I'm familiar with the gameplay style of the original Pokemon Yellow. Now, of course, the big difference in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is the fact that there are no more random battles in this game. Basically, when you see a Pokemon, you walk up to it and it goes into this sort of scene that's very reminiscent of Pokemon Go. And that's something that's really emphasized throughout the trailer for this game and in the subsequent media about this game, is that it's sort of an extension of a Pokemon Go game. If you even look at what the president of the Pokemon company said, he basically said that the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee games are supposed to be extensions of Pokemon Go, whereas the game that's coming out in 2019 is more of an extension of the handheld series. So right then and there, we should expect something different in the Pokemon system when it comes to Let's Go Pikachu. So I'm okay with that fact. It looks a bit unique, it looks a bit different, and yes, it definitely has that Pokemon Go style flair to it and that Pokemon Go influence to it, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because Pokemon has sort of been the same when it comes to catching Pokemon. You battle the Pokemon, and then when they get to a certain HP level, you can of course throw your Pokeballs and capture them. But this sort of changes things up a bit, and one thing I like about this new system is the fact that you can see the Pokemon on the field themselves. No longer are you just walking through tall grass or different areas and you come across a random encounter. You actually see the Pokemon out in the battlefield, and then you can walk up to them, throw your Pokeball, and if it's a good enough ball, you can capture them. So I'm not really taken aback by this, because I've actually stated in previous videos that I'm a bit tired of the Pokemon combat system because it just gets so repetitive after a while. When you're constantly catching different Pokemon, it can be kind of tiresome and cumbersome to keep doing the same things over and over again, where you have your basic attacks, you attack them, hope you do enough damage, so on and so forth. So I kind of welcome this addition to the Pokemon universe in the gameplay change style. Now, there is still traditional battles, of course, when there are trainers around. So I'm hoping that they put some more trainers in the game, though. Obviously, trainers aren't a huge part of there aren't a ton of trainers in Pokemon Yellow as it is, so I'm hoping that they add some more into this game for those looking for the combat system and the more competitive edge, because I think that looks really good. And that's something else we have to talk about, is the graphics of the game, and they're definitely improved over the standard Pokemon games that we have been seeing. A lot of people have been looking forward to this generational leap, and I don't think it's in this game. I think it's going to be in the 2019 game, which is more of an extension of the mainline games as opposed to the Pokemon Go game. But I still think the game looks really good. It has a nice clean style to it. All the Pokemon seem really well animated. All the characters look nice. The environments look good. It's definitely nothing pushing the Nintendo Switch really hard. Let's get that out of the way. But on the Nintendo Switch's screen, it's going to look so much better than what we see from traditional Pokemon games on the 3DS, because they're regulated to that low resolution screen on the 3DS and the DS and the Game Boy. You've never really seen a Pokemon game, a standard Pokemon game in HD. And maybe this game isn't quite a standard Pokemon game, but there's a lot of interesting things that are standard to the game. Now, the game will feature the original 151 Pokemon and some evolutions of them, which I absolutely love because those are the Pokemon I remember. These are the Pokemon I grew up with, the original 151. Once we got beyond that, I was like, who are these characters? So it's cool. I like that. I like going back to a more simplistic thing because I think that's what some people are actually wanting. Some people enjoy those original 151. Now, one thing that is sort of up in the air is how the online system is going to work in the game. It does look like there's going to be online battles and trading, but there won't be any sort of co-op in the game that you can play online with. There is local co-op in the game that has a drop in and drop out mechanic though. I would have liked to have seen online co-op though. I think most Nintendo games, especially big games like this, should have an online co-op feature. I think that would have been a lot of fun. I think that would have been a great way to introduce their online system as well, because this game is launching this November. So what better way to get people invested in your online system than having Smash Brothers and Pokemon in 2018, and you could play Pokemon online with your friends. Yes, you'll be able to do battles. Yes, you'll be able to trade Pokemon, but I would have liked to have seen a online co-op component in this game. Now, one thing that's kind of throwing people off is the whole simplicity of the game, because the game seems to be very streamlined. You can play it pretty much with one hand, and they're actually coming out with a Pokeball accessory that's going to be like $50 to really get you into the game to make it seem like you are in the Pokemon universe. And of course, there is the Pokemon Go integration, and that's something that a lot of people are taking away from this video, is just the presentation and how the game was pretty much thrown and showcased, because it definitely looks like an extension of Pokemon Go, but I don't think that's necessarily fair to call it that, because while it is similar in that style, it's definitely way more in depth. It's definitely more akin to a mainline Pokemon game than something simplistic like Pokemon Go. There is Pokemon Go integration though, and I can see why that would be. Pokemon Go was super successful, people. Whether you like the game or not, I played it for a couple weeks and I got absolutely tired of it. But to say that it wasn't a successful thing is very nearsighted. It definitely really rejuvenated a lot of people's interest in Pokemon. So by having a game that's sort of like Pokemon Go, but sort of like a traditional Pokemon experience, that's a good thing. You're pretty much blending both of the worlds together. I think a lot of the hate and negativity from this game definitely stems from the fact that people wanted a real successor to what we've seen on the handheld systems. They wanted that killer app, that killer Pokemon experience. And while it's coming, because the Pokemon Company said that in 2019, you will get a mainline game that's exceeding, that pretty much takes the handheld games and brings them to the home console market and brings them into light. I think that's what people wanted now. With Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and of course Pokemon Conquest, these games are definitely more for the mass market. They're definitely more for the everyday person, the person who maybe isn't super into Pokemon, maybe the person who fell out of Pokemon years ago, someone like myself, who's not really the hardcore Pokemon player. And I think that's throwing a lot of people off. So I definitely see why some people are upset with what we've seen from Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. But honestly, I'm excited to go back to the world of Pokemon Yellow. Although there are all these other things going on and all these added mechanics, you could still pretty much play the game like a Pokemon Yellow remake. It's just that the capturing system is different in this game. But you don't have to use your phone. You don't have to use the little Pokeball accessory. You could simply use a Joy-Con and still have the same gameplay experience. It's just going to be different in how you catch your Pokemon. Honestly, I think the game looks good, and I may actually end up picking it up because I want to get my feet wet in the Pokemon universe. And I love the Nintendo Switch. I love the screen on the Nintendo Switch. I love the versatility of the Switch, and the fact that this game looks pretty solid, and it looks like it's going to be a fun sort of appetizer to the big main course of next year, to get people into the world of Pokemon so that when the big Pokemon comes out next year, everyone's all over it. Those who played Pokemon Go and those who played the mainline games. I think it's going to be something very cool. So I'm curious to hear your guys' reaction to this, because I've seen different people talk different stuff stuff. A lot of people like the game. A lot of people don't like the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee stuff. And I want to know what you guys think about the game. Are you into it? Are you planning on picking it up? Or are you waiting for the main one next year because this game just looks a bit too simplistic for you? Let me know in the comments section down below, and thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm doing all sorts of videos on here all the time, from the Nintendo Switch to the PS4 to the Xbox One to retro gaming stuff like Sega and old school Nintendo and Sony and original Xbox. You never know. You really never know what I'm going to do on this channel. And thank you for watching this video. As always, make sure you hit that like button. If you really enjoyed the video, be sure to check out all the links in the description box down below. We got Patreon, t-shirts, social media. Speaking of t-shirts, if you're going to too many games, you can get your hands on one of these for just $15. Make sure you find me at the event. I'll have a video detailing that coming very soon to the channel. Know where to find me, know when my panel is and all that stuff. That is in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Gonna be a great time. Thank you for watching this video. I'm talking too much. I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.
RGT!